All right, grade 11s, this is part 4 of our lesson on completing the square. And hopefully this part will go a little bit faster now that we've actually done an example and I have my steps to follow. So it says complete the square and then state the transformations. So I have y equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 45. This is currently standard form. I want to put it in vertex form so that I can actually tell what the transformations are. So I'm going to use my little piece of paper here with my steps to kind of help us figure this out as we go, and it hopefully will go a little faster than the last example. So the first thing it says to do is to group together my terms that have x's. So that would be the 2x squared and the 8x. So I'm going to group those together, and I'm going to factor out the number in front of x squared. So they do have a 2 and an x in common. We are not taking the x. It is very, very tempting because we're used to doing that when we factor, but we only take the number. So I'm going to factor out 2, and then 2x squared divided by 2 is 1x squared, or I'm just going to write x squared. And then 8x divided by 2 is 4x. So I have x squared plus 4x, and I still have plus 45. Okay, so that's step 1 and 2 done. Then it says find two numbers that are the same that add to the middle term. So what we want to do here is try to see, I have y equals 2 times x squared plus 4x. I am missing a term, right? I would like to have 3 terms in order to be able to factor. So we're going to find that by taking our middle term, which is the 4x. And I'm going to go off to the side here and look for two numbers that add to 4x. And it does say they have to be the same. And I did make a little note to myself that dividing by 2 is a good shortcut for finding those numbers. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 2x plus 2x would equal 4x, and they're the same. And then to get the number on top, we multiply those together. 2 times 2, that is the next step, by the way. It says multiply those numbers to get the missing number. So 2 times 2 is 4. X times x is x squared. So the x squared comes from this part. The 4 is going to be the number that we're missing. So I'm going to add 4, right? It says here, add and subtract the missing number in the bracket. So I can't just randomly add 4. I need to also then cancel it out by subtracting 4, because if I add 4, it's not the same equation anymore. The parabola would look different. It would have different transformations. So I added 4, and then I had to cancel it out by subtracting 4 so that I didn't actually change anything in the equation. But the minus 4 is not meant to be part of my bracket. So it says multiply the negative out of the bracket. The reason why this is currently inside the bracket is to show that it is being multiplied by 2. So if I were to multiply it by 2, it wouldn't need to be in the bracket anymore. I could kick it out. So this is y equals 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. That's the part that I want in the bracket. And then I'm going to do 2 times negative 4. In the previous example, I wrote that out separately, but I'm okay if you just want to calculate 2 times negative 4, and then we'll write down the answer. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So I'm going to put negative 8 plus 45. Okay, I ran out of steps on this side. It says simplify the numbers outside of the bracket. So I'm going to put the negative 8 and the 45 together. So 2 times x squared plus 4x plus 4. Negative 8 plus 45 is 37. All right, and then my last step here says factor the bracket. So I need to factor the bracket. So I'm going to take x squared plus 4x plus 4. I am going to do it off to the side. I find it gets a little less messy if I do that. So x squared plus 4x plus 4. I am looking for two things that multiply to 4x squared and add to my middle term of 4x. Now, conveniently, I already know what they are. It's 2x and 2x. I figured it out earlier. So this is going to be x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 4. And then I will group my x and squared and 2x and my 2x plus 4. X squared plus 2x, they both have an x. They have one x in common. I'm just going to write the x. X squared divided by x is x. 2x divided by x is 2. And then I always take the sign from what's in between, so that's a plus. 2x plus 4, they both divide by 2. You can use your multiplication grid to help you with that. 2x divided by 2 is 1x, or just x. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. All right, thankfully I notice we have the same bracket. What that tells me is the multiplication question we started with would have had a second bracket of x plus 2. And then our first bracket would be x plus 2. X plus 2 times x plus 2 can also be written as x plus 2 squared. So I'm going to take out the x squared plus 4x plus 4 and put in x plus 2 squared. So we get y equals 2 times x plus 2 squared plus 37. And that is my equation in vertex form. Why is vertex form helpful? It's really good for graphing by transformations. And it did in the question ask me to state the transformations. So we're going to try to remember what each of these things does. This would be my A, and then x plus h squared plus k. So the A is stretches, compressions, and reflections. So if I have a 2, this is a stretch of 2. My h inside the bracket is a plus 2. That would go left 2. And then last but not least, the plus 37 is going to go up 37. All right, we have one last example to do in our last video, and then you'll have some time to practice. See you soon.